The record showed that it's 7:30 p.m. Our first order of business are to approve the minutes of our mayor and council meeting of August 18th, 2014, the minutes of the executive session of August 18th, 2014, as well as the minutes for the public hearing on the Mabel Mumford Gateway Park of August 21st, 2014.
So moved to be accepted as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Let the record show that it was passed unanimously. Our second order of business is the payment of bills. Is there a motion to pay the bills?
I move we pay the bills. Well, what's the curb and concrete? What was that?
That's a salary. That's an individual that works with the concrete crew.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, this is the same
Yeah.
guy. He's a contract employee.
Okay.
He's been working for us for decades.
Yeah, I was going to say about 15 or 20 years. He's a round-faced fellow.
Okay.
You probably know him when you see him.
And sailboat at Marina.
Just one less boat at the marina.
Well, why did it cost us money?
I'm sure we received money and that was
I'm not
a
aware
title
of it.
thing or
Yeah.
something.
Probably
Yeah, it's
title.
probably cool, yeah.
I will
title
find
costs.
that out for you because we've made a pretty good effort of getting rid of people who left boats at the
Yeah.
marina when we got it. That wouldn't seem to be much of a problem until
104.
you got a 30-footer that nobody wants.
Are you advertising?
Yeah, we have several ways of advertising. Well, I think we're down to maybe one or
On
none.
Craigslist.
We've tried every different way. We've had some pretty good success too.
Okay.
All right, so there has been a motion to pay the bills. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Let the record show that we unanimously approved the payment of the bills. Our next order of business is Owen Bailey, Chestertown Book Festival.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me on tonight's agenda, so I'm going to talk about this year's Chestertown Book Festival. In a couple of weeks, we shall celebrate our 6th annual Chestertown Book Festival, beginning Friday, September 19th. And to help us kick off this year's schedule of events, we are bringing back a familiar face to Chestertown. Ryan Grimm, the Washington Bureau Chief for the Huffington Post. Some of you may remember him as being the videographer for past Chestertown Town Council meetings. He will be speaking at the book plate on Cross Street at 7 p.m. Friday, September 19th. Ryan is the author of This Is Your Country on Drugs, which is an insightful book that looks into the history of America's fluctuating relationship with drugs and alcohol. His talk on that Friday will focus on America's drug war and a shift over the past decade towards police militarization. And again, his talk will be Friday at 7 p.m. at the book plate. Then the next morning, Saturday, September 20th, at the library, the book festival will be teaming up with the new Chestertown Harry Potter Festival to host the Harry Potter Readathon. Children and adults are welcome to sign up and join in as we begin reading Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. We will begin at 7 a.m. and we'll read until we're finished, and there will also be snacks available. Anyone interested is invited to come and join, but to sign up, please either call the book plate or send an email to chessbookfest@gmail.com. You can find all the information on our websites and on the Chestertown Harry Potter Festival website. The sign-up deadline is September 12th. Then to kick off the Chestertown Harry Potter Festival the following weekend, we will begin with a lecture from Washington College professor and chair of the History Department, Janet Sorrentino. Her talk, Harry Potter, Renaissance Magic, and Passion for Books, will delve into the power of the magic of books that helped J.K. Rowling create the world of Harry Potter. And that event will begin Friday, September 26th at 4:30 p.m., also at the book plate. So, and again, all this information is on our website and on the Chestertown Harry Potter Festival website. And I thank you.
All right. Sounds like fun.
Thank you.
All right. At brings us to the fourth item on the agenda, which is the town manager's report.
Okay, eat, drink, and buy art. Just tried to get hold of the lady who, I had to say that I hadn't gotten that done. That small little thing.
Right.
How much is this bill again, Bill?
Well,
It's only a
let's
couple
just
hundred
defer
dollars.
this until I can get hold of Laney. Laney? Laney? Do have her cell phone number now, so I'm getting closer. I will find out exactly what it is. Though we did learn last time that we never really paid for that, but the questions were, can everybody get on it if, through us getting on it? And is it an app or is it not?
That's,
So I'll get those answers. Grand opening of the emergency
So
room.
is this going to be on our agenda again? The next one?
I can't wait.
204.
Why not? Why not? It could be like the fall item that just never gets off.
That small thing is,
At least the third
Jen, you
time
give me
we've been there.
more written about it. I'm going to put you in charge of it. The grand opening of the emergency rooms Tuesday, the 16th of September at 5 p.m. For those of you who took the tour a few months ago, it should be pretty exciting to see the finished product.
Do we all get to cheer the first ambulance?
Hopefully you're not arriving
Hopefully I'm not
5
in it.
minutes before for other reasons.
I was there when they punched a hole in the wall. That was about 3 months before that.
Yeah.
Or 6 months.
At the next meeting, which is the utilities meeting and is relevant because the solar PPA or whatever we decide is going to be at that plant, and I would want the recommendation also of Bob Sykes, but we're getting closer and closer to being able to recommend I'm going to say it right now. I don't see any evidence that the low bidder isn't the one to take in this. I've had a lawyer working on looking at the bids and the contracts, and I've been checking with Queen Anne's County and Salisbury about their experiences with this same contractor. So they are so much lower than everyone
Yeah,
else.
yeah, it was impressive.
You have to guard against it being too good to be true, but it's my opinion that it's not too good to be true, that it's happening here and elsewhere, and that we are at the right moment at the right time.
Good.
Also, I got an email from the owner of these building where social services rents, and there are state contracts for state agencies are in 10-year increments, and people who want to rent to social services or any other state agencies have to compete by putting in bids, and I think the bids are 30 to 50 pages that goes over the space that they want to rent. Mr. Cannon, who owns that building, has rented social services for a lot of decades, has asked the mayor to send in a letter supporting his request to re-rent to social services. In discussing with Chris, he felt the whole council should hear the request, and I would say that there probably are multiple entities that are bidding for the social services, especially since they want a larger building, or they're asking for about twice the space that's provided there. So the way we handle this is usually ask the council, do you want to be part? I think it's 1 point in their grant, in their application for this 10-year contract, if the local agencies or the local government is in support of the application. And it's my feeling that you would be in support of anything that keeps businesses or people in the downtown. I know, on the other hand, it may not support what they're looking for. So this is definitely
Do they have the whole building?
They have all but the dentist at the other end. They still cannot get up to 26,000 square feet. I think that adds about 2,000 more square feet to the 13 that they have. So it's
So they're looking to double their space.
they are looking to double their space. They're bringing in 2 other social agencies that are in remote spots to that. One in the one above the coffee, one above Dunkin' Donuts, and one in the industrial park. there is nothing that would keep you from supporting multiple bids if you saw them as having advantages for one reason or the other.
I think as long as they're going to be downtown, we support them. I mean,
The only
You know,
potentially sticky situation is if, let's say, Dixon Valve also wanted to be in the running, or another entity, maybe the Acme Shopping Center. So do we want to pick up one property over another and potentially ruffle feathers within the community that maybe
well,
we don't want?
can't we word our support in that we would support any building downtown that you may want to occupy? In other words, if the Acme does come through, or whoever else you mentioned comes through, then we'll say, yeah, well, we'll support that too, since you're in the town of Chestertown. I would hate to see them move to Wharton, but I doubt very much if they
Yeah.
would.
I'm not sure I understand. So who's applying to whom? Is it the building owner or
Any
social?
building owner that says, I want 10 years of the contract to provide 26,000 square feet to the General Services
Okay.
Administration.
But if social services needs more space than he can provide, then why would they be interested in going there again?
They may not be.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like they are
But-
if they're trying to condense it. but-
I mean, you don't want to deny him the
No,
offer.
I understand. Okay, I think I understand.
I think maybe your policy should be that anything that's in support of that supports Chestertown.
In Chestertown. So
Right.
my concern in just sending the letter on this gentleman's behalf is I didn't want to exclude other potential suitors in town
Well, we could
without
word
consulting you
the
guys.
letter to support in that way, that we will support any move as long as it remains in the
Okay,
town of
so
Chestertown.
what I'm hearing is
We don't oppose it.
we can send the support letter for this gentleman, and if other Chestertown space owners want a similar letter, that we feel comfortable writing additional letters.
But they wouldn't be state services. I mean, they would be private
Yeah.
renters then.
No, it's all about this particular contract. This is for 10 years, so it comes in 10-year blocks. So someone could cut, about this one alone, there'll probably be other bidders.
Just design the letter, and then whatever property owner wants a letter of support, we just change the name so that the letter's the same for everybody.
I'm fine with that. I didn't want to act on this without talking to you all first, because it may be that more than one local property owner wants a similar letter.
I would guess there is probably more than one.
There probably will.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is just like grant applications, though, this isn't one. It's always at the last minute that people think, a letter of support from local government. That's one more point. So they'll call the mayor.
They need it yesterday.
And they need it by the
Literally.
the 5th. Yeah, that's so close. So,
Okay.
and that's why I think it's best to bring it up here.
Are they considering other locations?
They can't say, we want that spot. What they say is they need 26,000 square feet. The RFP goes out. Somebody who has 26,000 square feet bids on it and says, and, Marty's right. It could end up in Queen Anne's County.
Roses or
Or any building
They
that
can't go
has
to
a
Queen
sign.
Anne's.
They can't?
it's
Well,
Kent
Queen
County.
Anne's has their own.
Okay,
DSA.
you're right, it's territory, but it could end up outside of the town limits.
Yeah, well, the county could say, well, we'll build you a building and you rent it from us.
So it keeps jobs in town. And we'll-
All right,
we'll
so
write-
we're thumbs up on
Yeah.
that.
I want to thank Judge Anthony for helping us paint the flagpole last week. On very short notice, we went to our friends at the fire company to get us up in the air to paint the flagpole. It's 30 or 40 feet up. And they do have this policy that they don't use the ladder truck for painting jobs. And with all the awards they've won for their equipment, I know exactly why. But Judge came right down, and the flagpole never looked better.
It's great.
So
They were so impressed because all of the flagpoles for the reenactment were white so far.
I'm glad of that too.
It was
'cause
perfect.
We were getting ready to paint it silver, and they didn't have silver paint, so
That was perfect.
that was a happy. Okay. That's the end of my report.
All right. That brings us to the next item, which is the mayor's report. I'll start off by saying that our Marina Charrette last Wednesday, August 27th, I thought was a pretty successful event. At least nobody ran away screaming from the shed. We're never going to get 100% consensus, but I felt like in general people were amenable to the concept, in that we go with the 3-dock model with the modest extensions, with the modest expansion of the number of slips, that we really focus on the quality of the slips that we have. They seem to be amenable to keeping the boat ramp with the parking on site, although there was discussion about possibly examining moving it to Wilmer Park. I felt there was a little bit of pushback there. And in general, I didn't think that we needed to blow up the plan that we have and start from scratch, which definitely could have happened. So what I would like us to do, I think the last step in sort of the public vetting of this before we kind of turn it officially over to the engineers and designers, is that I would like us at our next meeting to have basically maybe have Perry come in, or Case or Bill and I could do it ourselves, and just kind of go over the plan as it is currently situated with and have a council discussion and make not necessarily all the design decisions in detail, but conceptually endorse what we have in terms of, we don't want to put a bunch of condos on the high ground, or, that kind of discussion. So that's what I would like to do at our next meeting, which gives all of you all another 2 weeks to kind of think about what was said at the charrette, take another look at the design, and come up with any suggestions if you have them.
Council meetings are public meetings, obviously. I was asked today when the next public hearing was on the marina, and recalling what you said at the end of the charrette, I said, well, I think, our next step is for the engineers to come up with a plan that we in council are going to look at in detail.
Right.
But I could see that there'll be a lot of public participation at the next council meeting and people wanting to comment some more.
Okay.
So we probably should allow them a good bit of time.
Okay.
I kind of think it's time to get started.
Yeah, I agree.
We are going to, on the 24th of September, we're going to meet with a joint committee from the state and federal government about permits and about what we're planning, the dredging and
Right.
stuff. We
We
need to be
move
dredging
ahead.
this winter
Right.
initially.
That would be great.
There has to be a point where we say, this
Agreed.
is it, because, we've been looking at this thing, and we have meetings and charrettes and whatever you want to call it. There has to be a point where you just stop that and get going, because
Timing.
otherwise we could be
Timing.
doing this into the next
I
century
agree.
sometime.
So let's try to get this done. I would like to see us moving forward, as you said, this month, like before the end of September. We have a conceptual agreement as a council, like this is what it is. And then the details, like where the trees go and all that kind of stuff, we leave that up to the Miles Bernards and the
Sure.
McCrones of the world.
Well, it's important that we not get into micromanaging yet.
Absolutely. Winterfest weekend, that is now the name of the first weekend in December. Basically, I had a lot of meetings earlier in the year with a lot of different groups that were already doing winter holiday events, like the Garfield does in their annual play.
Chorale concert.
The Chorale does a big concert, and also the middle school and Garnett do a Colonial House tour. And we talked about kind of marketing all that as one big new weekend, which would always be the first weekend of December. So I'm going to start basically recontacting all the folks that were coming to those meetings and really trying to firm up the itinerary. In the meantime, we want to also work on making the town look nice. So to that end, the folks at Curb Appeal DCA were looking at buying some new supplies. Could you talk briefly about what they've been telling us about what they were thinking with the supplies?
Decorations, you mean?
The decorations, yeah. With the
You mean-
garlands?
Well, they found a garland that they liked. Is this from the recent emails?
Yes.
Yeah. They found a garland that was just perfect, and apparently this time of year, it gets taken fast. So they committed, I believe, sorry to say I didn't read it in great detail, but they committed to a couple $1,000s worth
Yes.
of the garland, permanent garland. And,
Now, is this a live garland or?
no, this is a permanent
Okay.
fake garland that apparently is very lifelike.
plush.
Plush. And I think they were covering it with their budget in case our budget didn't cover it, and they were very aware of our budget for Christmas. So I'd have to say I wasn't prepared to bring that in, but they put themselves out a little bit to make sure that this stuff is purchased, and I didn't see anything wrong in the email whatsoever that couldn't be covered by one or the other.
Is all of this stuff going to be stored centrally, or are all the businesses going to store their own pieces of
I
equipment?
think the idea is it will be stored centrally and then distributed each year to people that want to participate.
So this isn't to replace the live stuff that's strung all along the street?
I think it is.
So then it's not, it belongs to the town then, I mean, whoever's going to put it up.
Yeah, I think one of their theories was that they would do strategic buildings, allow them to do their buildings, and this is an alternative, is to have them store each year. Once they get it laid out with the garland and lights in an acceptable fashion, they might be able to store theirs on site. It's still owned by the town, but goes back up every year. And looking for something other than the
Straight.
linear way that's what...
So it'll be chunked up for each building?
Right. All sorts of ideas about having competitions for that, but I think what they're going to end up doing is looking for people who want to cooperate, businesses that want to cooperate with buildings that would look great strategically located.
It'd be nice if they would kind of get in a competition for doing their window dressings, like they do in New York. That's a big deal. I mean,
Yeah,
people
right.
spend thousands of dollars to decorate their window, but people go down there to look at them. Of course,
Yep.
if we could get something going like that, I mean, if they look at the window, they might walk inside the store too, so.
Well, yeah, I think they want a competition, but they want to start with maybe the lighting outside.
So that's still a work in progress. I'm going to be very soon trying to really firm up that itinerary and get solid commitments from everybody. So it should be a lot of fun. We're going to have a new community candle lighting ceremony to kick everything off on Friday, which will then translate to lighting those bags, what do you call those? Luminaries, which will be lit around town. I want to have some music at the farmer's market on Saturday morning with a variety of groups, and then all these other events that have already in place, and we just package them a little bit more intelligently and market them as such. It should be a real nice new tradition for us. War of 1812 weekend, I want to thank all the people that worked so hard to put together a fantastic weekend. I have to say that I had a pre-planned last hurrah to the beach with my kids before school started, so I unfortunately missed most of the weekend, but I know a lot of people put a lot of time and effort into it, and from all accounts it was a really fantastic couple of days. Actually, I was hoping Linda could say a couple words, because more than anybody here, she put a lot of time and effort into this event.
Well, Judge Anthony, I thank Judge Anthony for painting the flagpole, all the workers on the town with the information booth, the trash cans, most of all, Nancy McGuire with the DCA, and and Kristen Owen. I start naming people, then I'm afraid I'll forget somebody, but the Downtown Chestertown Association with the parade on Saturday, and all the people that were in Chestertown, and they weren't all local because we were passing out the event brochure in the crowds, and people were here by boat, people had moved here, they were just here to visit, and it kind of looked sparse, at first, and then at the closer the time came for the parade, the more people showed up, and it was just, it was phenomenal. And then Sunday at Cox Field, the ceremony at the monument, it was just, when I stop and think, and we're out there, and that's where the battle took place 200 years ago to the day, and the British were there, and the Canadians were there, and the Americans, and the von Stoll family. I talked to Mrs. Funstalt. They own Tulip Forest Farm. Coxfield is on Tulip Forest Farm. She lives in Belgium. She has family in England, here, and around the United States. She said this was the first time in 30 years that all of their family had been together. And it was just, a celebration for them. And then when the battle took place and the British came out of the cornfield and the cannons were fired, the muskets were fired, and the dragoons was running up and down, the field, and the scouts, and it was absolutely and totally awesome. It really was. And I was thinking to myself, my daughter, my granddaughter, this is once in a lifetime for 3 generations in our family, because it won't happen for another 100 years. We have the celebration. So I looked out of the hospitality tent at one point, and I know for over an hour, cars were backed up on Route 21, and I think it was before noontime. Somebody said that they had parked over 740 cars, because DuPont had given 5 acres. And so I don't know what the backup was on Route 20, but, what time did you get there, Sam?
I got there around 12:30.
And it was just absolutely...
Wasn't hard at all at 9:30, like I said.
No, I was down there at 9 o'clock, and everything was at the hundreds and hundreds of volunteers. Bernadette Bowman and Jen Davis and Michelle Wood from the Office of Tourism worked hundreds and hundreds of hours, not only this year, but back with the Inn at Mitchell House event and the one at the Kitty Knight House, and thousands of hours, hundreds of people. EMS, our 911, the fire company, the state police, county police, town police, it just, I don't know of anything that didn't go right.
I tend to agree with you. I think from the time you got there, it was obvious a lot of work went into it. It was so well planned. They had a tremendous amount of volunteers, and it was hot. It
was hot.
If there was anything that was wrong with the whole thing, it was the temperature. That's the only thing I could find wrong with it. But the ceremony at the wreath laying and the opening of the monuments was just perfect. And the Marine colonel from the Navy, from the British Marine, give the best capsule, most succinct of the War of 1812. And I heard a lot of them because I went down to the other thing, and we've had the history people come in here. But he did it all in about 5 minutes, and you knew what the war was about, and how it came about and how it finished, and they had a little humor in it. It was, if the media, did you get it on tape by any chance? The colonel speaking? Yeah, it's a shame, because it would be nice if everybody got to see it, because he did such a super job of it. And it was very solemn, but yet it was a nice ceremony. And I actually learned something. They had the shantymen singing. I don't know how many people got there early enough to hear the shantymen, but before each song, he would give a little history on it. So it was like a history lesson for me to be there. So. And I could use some of that. So.
Very cool event. Also, I know the Kent County Historical Society
yes,
put a lot of time.
They had the lectures. We had the lectures at Emmanuel Church, which, I mean, working it, I didn't get to everything, but I understand there was standing room only.
It was packed.
And then the replica of the 15-stripe flag that was stitched, and you could go and stitch on it. Before the activities took place, came to Coxfield on Sunday and was unfurled on the field, and then the history of that. And actually, the Battle of Coxfield was a diversion in between the week of the burning of Washington and the attack on Fort McHenry. So the Star-Spangled 200th celebration at Fort McHenry, I don't know whether it starts the 11th.
That's a week
12th
from this
the 14th or something.
I have it in Baltimore on the 11th. but it may,
Start that night.
may be earlier than that, so.
Are you going over on the ship?
Yes.
Cool.
We'll be bombing.
Are you
Fort McHenry.
taking account? No, I'm not, I don't want to go.
It
I
was a
feel like that little
quality-
ad with the Oriole guys, you gonna take me? You know?
It was a quality event. I mean, I intended to be there Sunday, and we had a last-minute emergency that prevented me going, but it was a totally
Well, yeah,
high-cost
I think
event.
just
It
in
was
general, thank you to everybody that was involved, because there were a ton of people that were involved that transcended town and county politics, and it was just a real team effort, so thank you to everyone that was involved. The next item on my report is the crossing guard. I got an email actually this morning from a parent of a student at Garnett Elementary School who just was very upset that we don't have a crossing guard at the school. So this kind of brought up an issue that we knew was potentially going to come up when our meter maid retired. And basically, we all kind of decided that once we bagged the parking meters, that was essentially the revenue that paid for that person's salary. So when she retired, it was a good time not just to retire the meters, but also her position. Well, for better or worse, her position wasn't just being the meter maid, it was also partially being the crossing guard at Garnett Elementary School. So we had discussed the whole concept of why are we paying for the crossing guard at a county-run school, which gets in a whole different ball of wax. But Bill had actually made several, basically has been reaching out to Stacy Clark, who's the principal at Garnett Elementary School. So could you just tell us a few things about what has already
I can.
been done and what may happen in the
We
future?
talked about this maybe 2 meetings ago, and Chief and I went to see Stacy before the school year started, and kind of to try to get the, whether they had any interest in selecting a person who would be a crossing guard. By that time, we knew we weren't really going to have a full-time meter monitor. They had no, actually, they said they had no budget for it. Nobody seemed to know what the history of it, why the town was funding half of it and the county government was funding half of it rather than the Board of Ed. We also ascertained that there's no crossing guards in any other school that I found so far in Kent County. So we talked back and forth. I thought I had the gym instructor at the school. He wanted to do it morning and afternoon, but I was told by the school that he was a union employee and he's a certain amount of that time was on their clock. So that ruled it out. So I think at the end, and we decided, she sent out an email to all parents saying, you know, bring your kids to school, help, you know, take them into the school if you can, or just telling them that there wouldn't be a crossing guard there. And for that first week, both Chief and I monitored. I called at least twice last week. I went and observed it today. And I'd have to say that parents are doing a great job, but if history repeats itself, and I think it is, about 30 years ago, we had 2 crossing guards, one on Washington Avenue and one there, and during some, I don't know whether it was an economic setback or the county withdrew and wouldn't fund them, there wasn't a crossing guard at Garnett for about 2 weeks, and it revitalized their PTA. And this person that wrote you an email is at a PTA meeting tonight with Stacy Clark. So Chief, you have anything to add to that? You've observed it.
I would just concur. Actually, one of our officers is a parent, so it's pretty much there daily, and we reported on that. I've sent an officer sporadically, and it seems very orderly.
I think with everybody's attention, that detail helps, but there's no question that it would be better. So I asked Stacy today if she would ask the PTA to query the parents to see if there's an interested parent who could do this twice a day for the pay that was paid by the county and the town, just as an extra protection. It's a perfect job for somebody who's also a parent that's taking their kid to school anyway. That would be my first choice, other than the gym teacher at the school who was absolute.
How much did it cost?
When I was chief of police, I had the superintendent on board using the custodian at the elementary school was up here then,
Yeah.
and the middle school. But apparently the board shot that down in a hurry. I can't believe he couldn't take a half an hour off of pushing his broom to come out there and usher
Well,
kids
the
across.
guard is in front of the school at the front door. The crossing guard doesn't cover the intersections at each end of Calvert Street, Calvert and Kent, and what's the other one, Calvert and College?
They stand on the elevated
Yeah,
crossing
on the bump.
that I put in there, which really helped, by the way, a few years ago. We
Well,
put
you can
in
walk down the
raised-
street to that point and
raised-
cross over.
raised
You don't have to
crosswalk.
cross at the corners.
The one thing I will say about Garnett, it is a little bit different from most of the other schools in that if you go to, say, Wharton or Rock Hall or Galena, there's like a special turn-in area for buses and cars, and you don't have that at Garnett, so everything's kind of happening
I asked that question.
on a two-way street that just shoots straight in a neighborhood, and so it's
I asked
a little
Stacy
bit different from
And they
that
don't have
perspective.
buses at
They-
Garnett.
if the parents delivered their children behind the school, but they say they have too many buses for that. I said, well, how about the buses dump the kids off on Calvert Street by the curb? That happens at the middle school. Hoping that some re-engineering of this would make it safer for the kids, safer for the parents. There's no question, and my kids went to school there, that some parents don't seem to be awake. Some are letting their kids out, not on the sidewalk, but out of the left side of the car into the center lane of the road. And they do it every day. All you have to, and the sidewalks there and the raised crosswalks there so that the kids would get out of the right side if they're on the right side of the road.
Right.
Get on the sidewalk, cross with the crossing guard, or not with the crossing guard, but it's an elevated structure there. But this, like I say, history repeats itself and everybody feels a lot safer. I don't think it's a lot of money to spend to have one, but it's no longer the meter monitor.
Right.
So we need a little time to get the right person. We will have to do a background check. We're working with kids here, quick one.
Why is it up to us?
Well, I asked the school if they wanted to hire. I would be happy if
That's
the
the
county
school board.
hired. I'd be happy if they hired and we paid our half to them.
I don't object to
I
us
like
paying
that.
half,
I like that.
but, they should be the employer, not us.
It's just one of those
I kinda
things
agree
that...
with you. It's a school function.
Their responsibility. Now, these are town children, so I think we have, some
Yeah.
obligation too, but I don't think we should be the employer of somebody who's providing a service for the school.
Did anyone come here to speak on this tonight, this subject? Okay.
I've got the sense that it's just one of those things that fell through the cracks and the town
Yes.
just stepped up and it's just kind of been
Yeah.
perpetuated and never questioned, and so here we are.
Well, they don't have to be salaried under this structure of the job, the hour, so it's not a health benefits or it's 2 hours a day. And it'd be perfect for somebody who is doing that anyway, that pick up a little cash.
How
and
much
do
did it cost to actually fund that position with the meter maid that we had last year? I mean, did we split up her salary that way?
Yeah,
or
no, we did bill the county though. That was sort of, I can get you that number. We billed them for half of the equivalent. I'd say the salary for that part probably came out to $12 an hour.
Well, I think the tack to take is to see if they can come up with a person. And then, once the person is identified that's willing and able to do the job, then we can talk about cost sharing, hopefully. Because it would be nice if we offered to pay half, I think, because those are our kids in town, so.
But every once in a while, you need to look at the way you do things. And I do think that the architecture of the rear of that property would lend itself better.
I agree.
But you forget I guess I'm forgetting the kids who might walk to school
There's a
by
lot of
themselves,
walkers, yeah.
coming in the front door from the other side of the street.
So that's where that stands right now, and we'll keep you posted on how that is panning out. The last thing on my report is the Planning Commission, after almost a year, probably 2 years of work in updating our comprehensive plan, has posted the draft of the revised comp plan. It's been online for a couple of weeks. It will continue to be online, and there's a public hearing on the draft of the comp plan on Wednesday, September 17th at 6:30 PM. That is also the date of their regularly scheduled meeting, which generally starts at 7:30.
7:30, yeah. We
So
figured
that
we'll-
would be in this room at 6:30 on Wednesday, September 17th. I would encourage everybody to read that plan, and that's like the guidelines for the growth, for future growth of the town.
Is the public arts plan, is that a part of the comprehensive plan? Or are they completely separate? I mean, is there any mention to the public arts plan in the comprehensive plan at all? Or how do those two speak to each other?
That's a very good question. I think if the Planning Commission felt that it was a strong proposal, what they could do is adopt that as a sub-area plan within the comp plan. In other words, like, hey, these are the guidelines for
Right.
this part of town. If and when these projects happen, they should happen in this fashion.
Because I feel as if that's important that those two, complement each other. Because
Yeah, I agree.
there's, especially when it comes to the Stepney property, I mean, that's just absolutely critical that that be a part of the
Yeah.
comprehensive plan.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So, September 17th, 6:30 PM in this room. Which brings us to ward reports. Why don't we start with Ward 4?
Ward 4. Well, I don't have a whole lot to report, except we did put in 3 new benches in the dog park, and I've gotten some compliments on that, and there has been 3 benches ordered, you'll be happy to hear, for the walking trail.
Oh, that's cool.
We did go with a different style. I don't think it's necessary to have dog paw on the bench, on the walking trail, but they'll be nice benches, and they'll be welcome. I've already kind of scouted it out, and we're going to put one at each top of each hill, so if they get tuckered out walking up the hill, they could sit down and
Perfect.
The
rest.
big hills in Chestertown.
And that's basically Ward 4, Rich. We didn't have a storm this time, so things went pretty
Quiet.
smooth.
All right, how about Ward 3?
So we got a preliminary look of what the new website's going to look like, the new website for Chestertown. Things are coming together very nicely. I think once Francoise comes and does her presentation to the council at the next meeting, honestly, we will be putting the final touches on it. I can definitely see this website going live sometime in either late November or early December. So things are coming along very quickly. And the nicest thing about the current website as it stands is it's very easy to navigate. So it does look drastically different from the current Chestertown.com, but I don't think anybody's going to have any difficulties figuring out where everything is now. It's very easy to understand. We removed a lot of the heavy text that's currently on the main landing page for Chestertown. Replaced it with lots of pictures and just really interactive things. So it's going to be a substantial improvement. So I'm definitely looking forward to that going live. But other than that, a couple of projects I'm going to run by Bill, but Ward 3 is doing well.
All right, Ward 2.
Ward 2, okay. I would like to make a request with the Marina charrettes and the cost of revitalizing the marina. With the Washington College donation that shows up on our cash on hand, and I don't think you did the cash on hand
didn't
tonight,
do it,
did you?
no.
But it's okay. And
We do them at
Did
the
you start?
utilities meeting. We really
that's okay. So, and then we had it on here as a restricted use. It was the $200,000, and then the $3,250 was taken out to help pay for the task force. I just want to, Sam and Liz and Chris, you weren't on the council at the time, but when Washington College gave the $200,000 gift to the town of Chestertown to acquire the armory, President Reese noted in a press release that the board wanted the college to make a significant contribution to advance Chestertown's vision of the Chester River waterfront. And this $200,000 was to be for master planning and infrastructure. And it was the college's intention, that the board be making this gift to the town for that purpose. Instead, it got turned around, and this $200,000 went into a restricted fund for Rails to Trails.
Right.
I would like it to come out of the Rails and Trails and to go back into the revitalization of the marina and the waterfront, and to be taken from the general budget and to be put into the marina budget.
Well, it was, I think I've explained this before, it was restricted because we felt like we were given $200,000, then they were telling us how to spend it.
That's exactly right.
And that's not the purpose of it. I mean,
Well-
they got a very nice piece of property for $200,000, so it's not like
It's not a gift.
they walked away. Don't look at me that way. It could have went to free enterprise for a lot more money, believe me.
Well, and, it didn't.
And I think it's nice that Ward 3 gets the whole $200,000 when there are other wards that need things, Linda. I'm not objecting to some of that money going down there, and certainly it needs to be. We're going to have to pay somebody to do some engineering and that type of thing. But just to say that all $200,000 is supposed to go to my ward so that I can beautify it.
It's not my ward, it's to...
Well, it's certainly not my ward, I can tell you that.
Well, it is in my ward, the Armory's also in my ward. However, the marina is the biggest debt right now that the town of Chestertown has.
I said I don't object to some of it, but just to say that it's all going to go there, I think we look at each time they come in and need some money, and if it's apropos to take it out of that $200,000, we'll do it. You have a fee coming up to pay the engineering people and so forth.
That was a separate grant that's paying for
that's
that.
Okay,
Right.
well, I think just to take it out and say it's going to go to the waterfront is not the way to go. It goes to the discretion of the council.
That's true, but
And bring it
I-
in individually. Don't just junk it out in one $200,000.
Well,
Okay,
it's
but
not $200,000
Could I
anymore.
bring up a pretty relevant point? We have a $200,000 grant this year from DNR. It's a matching grant. And we're going to find out pretty soon how much it costs to repair the bulkheading at the marina, which is critical, and it's going to need a match. So I think that what you're trying to do is a good idea, because not only have we gone out and found other rail trail funds from which completely paid for Phase 3, but we need to show some flexibility here. And I don't think that in the end that the college said that $200,000 grant should be for rail trail. I think it got twisted around, and then it got put in a vault, and it's time it came out of the vault. so
I
that you-
couldn't agree with you more, Bill, but
That's good.
let's
We're all
do
agreed.
let's do it individually. If you find out you have to have a $200,000, you may not, because you might do some of the work yourself and it's only $100,000. Then $100,000 could. We don't know what else is going to happen in this town that we might need some money.
I kind of agree with both of you guys. First of all, I agree completely that we need to take it out of this restricted mindset that we
I
have.
agree with that, but not
And then,
all.
but I also agree with you, like, let's not just spend it all before we even
Right. Just
decide.
say we're here.
But I like the idea of keeping our options open, because we're going to need funds for that marina.
That's probably
It
where
needs to
we'll
be
need
fixed
it
up
first.
quickly.
There's nothing wrong with taking a few thousand out to pay for your Christmas decorations. I don't have any objection to that. And that's in your ward too,
I
you
do
know.
have an objection to that, because I already asked at the last meeting that if there's any increase in the hotel tax revenue, that should go into the Christmas decorations for tourism, advertising.
Well, what if there is no increase?
Well, there
Then what do you
should
do?
be.
I would like to say, I'm sort of like Chris, I see both sides of that. I strongly object, like Marty does, to any reference to that $200,000 from Washington College as a gift. They got something pretty substantial in return. It was not a gift. I do not, however, want to see it going into the operating budget for the marina. I think it should remain
Oh, yeah.
restricted for capital projects, and you know, let's not argue about whose ward is what. I think that the revitalization of the waterfront is going to benefit everybody all over
I
this
agree with
town.
you.
And,
And that
and
couldn't even be a bigger capital
it
project.
could not be a bigger, but I don't want to see it go in the marina budget.
I like
Because-
the idea of changing that wording to waterfront rather than specifically
marina,
And
yeah.
then, to me, everybody can agree on that.
Capital improvements.
If it goes
for
into the
water.
operating budget for the marina, it will phew, disappear
No,
like
it
that.
shouldn't go to the operating
For the
budget.
But that's what
waterfront?
she said. She said she wanted to see it go in the marina budget.
There's a
I
good
really
chance
thought-
you'll get the $200,000.
I would like to see it used
But I
for the
don't think it
waterfront.
should be just bumped over there.
Well, the
saying
only
we're gonna put it
reason
there.
that,
You say the waterfront's going to revitalize downtown? Well, let's take it out of your hotel tax and give it down there. You always, every
We can
time we
do
come
that
up with
too.
something, you want to take it out of the hotel
Well, we
tax.
can do
What
that
is
too.
the hotel tax in revenue? How much do we get a year?
17% of hotel.
85,000,
85,000?
That's not
Closer
even,
to 100, I think.
okay, 100,000.
Depends on how many
45,000
Okay, well,
goes
let's
to the
give it
visitor
100,000.
center.
No, we run that building over there.
That's
with-
exactly
All right,
right.
I think the point is that Linda's making is she'd like to unrestrict it from rails to
Trails,
trails.
and
to
I agree with that.
Waterfront
Well, I have
revitalization.
no problems with that. I've said that before, but I don't see any problem with taking some bucks out of there from time to time when we need it for something other.
Okay.
For the marina.
but not
I can hear the
operating
creaking of
funds.
the hinges of that vault opening up.
Capital fund, capital projects only.
All right, I think we're amenable to the concept, Linda.
Moving on.
All right.
You have gifts for people?
Barbara Macbeth is here, and I've already
I
talked
wondered
to
what she was
Barbara,
doing back there.
Barbara Macbeth about this. Now, from the generosity of the artisans in the farmers market, they have come up with a design for market bags. And
I'll take mine on Saturday.
I'll get you one, Bill.
It's all right. I'm not allowed to accept
We
gifts.
have a new artisan in the park, and he does printing. And
It's a rainy day picture.
that's also Bev Miller, right there. Nobody realized that was Bev when the picture was taken. Now, we have a print, well, he does printing, and he's a new artisan in the artisans market. So Nancy McTeer, who does the beautiful farmers market website, and the pictures,
Is that word on that thing?
put the pictures to the bags. So, it's going to be one design, and I would like $200 from the farmer's market revenue, if you decide this, to be paid to the printer for the cost of the bags and the printing, and then we will, this is for 100 bags, we will give the bags to the Chestertown Garden Club, Barbara Macbeth and her group, to sell for $5 to raise money to revitalize the park.
Bravo.
Yes.
Sounds
So
good.
that's my presentation.
So-
And this is all come from the artisans in the farmers market who want to help to revitalize Fountain Park.
So potentially $5,000 if they sell 100 bags.
500,
No,
$5 a bag.
oh, 500, you're right.
They might
So that
net
would be the-
$300.
That would be it's not a lot of money, but it's $500 they don't have. So, Barbara, do you want to say anything? Did your group decide on anything this morning?
I'd just like to say that on behalf of the Chestertown Garden Club, we just couldn't be more appreciative. This is just another wonderful outcome from the conversation that we had over the winter with the stakeholders of the park. And the fact that they would support us and really our fine community in this way, I think is fabulous. So thank you.
You're welcome. And like the farmer's market brochure went to a second printing, this can go to a second printing.
Absolutely.
And I just would like $200 from the farmer's market revenue, if that's what I'm asking for.
So do we need a motion for that?
I think if you're gonna, yeah.
I think Marty should make the motion. He's been so mean tonight.
Yeah. I'll second that.
I'm not gonna make the motion, and I'm not gonna tell you how I'm gonna vote either until it comes time to
Okay,
vote.
wait. so
Is
somebody
there
else
a
can-
Hey, what's
I will move.
What's this bag made out of?
Cotton, isn't it?
Oh,
Huh?
Feels like recycled
Looks like
material.
plastic to me, I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably old water bottle.
Sure it's recycled stuff from,
Doesn't have a tag inside.
we're gonna have to start
Oh, yes, there is.
council people for.
all right, Liz, were you gonna make a motion?
Yes, I make a motion that we devote, not made in China, $200 from the revenue from the farmer's market to pay for the printing of these bags for sale by the Chestertown Garden Club as a fundraiser for the restoration of the park.
Is there a second?
Sam, please.
Told you, I'm gonna let you see what it is, how I'm gonna vote.
I second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Three of us.
Any opposed?
Unanimous.
All right, let the record show we unanimously approved the $200 donation for
Whoever
the
got the
bags.
bag with the fountain on it,
You want it back?
no, that was the preference, the one with the fountain, if you want to
Oh,
hold it up
there are
and show
two, there's more
people.
than one picture?
Yeah, there are
That's the-
multiple.
That's the big,
Each one
yeah,
has a
each
different-
Oh, I
one's
like the
different.
tomatoes.
Yeah.
But that is the one.
That's the same one I have, yeah.
Was that the,
That looks
Barb,
pretty
was
nice.
that the one that your garden club?
Whatever you
Okay.
Oh, we have to pick one?
Oh, we have to decide?
Well, the preference was the one with the fountain on it.
Yeah, but it doesn't show the market that
Is
much.
that on that bench?
No, because it says Maryland here
I
on
like
the
this
tin.
one.
Artistic license, Mark, come on.
Okay.
Okay, but we
Okay.
don't have to decide on the design.
Supportive Kenny.
No,
Okay.
I think it's gonna be that one.
Yeah.
My memory serves me
Are you
right.
taking them
that's all
back? I
have.
thought they were gifts for crying out
You
loud.
have to pay $5 for them.
I got plenty of.
Oh, I thought it was a gift.
You're gonna have a hard time
I
finding
don't get to take it to the market, huh?
And,
And we could pull it over the other way.
Okay, you have anything else?
Better
Linda?
tell them where the money's going.
No, she said no.
Liz Gross, Ward 1.
I have just a couple of small things to report. I guess it's a couple of weeks ago now, some of us turned up for the 400 Block Kids little ceremony and certificate. It was rainy and it was pretty damp, but it was a very heartwarming event. And I asked several of the kids about their trip to Six Flags, and they had such a great time that we sponsored. And I really had the impression that that was a super, super activity for those children in that neighborhood this summer. And so I'm really proud that that was something that we supported and encouraged them in. I had not exactly a complaint, but comment from a resident of Queen Street about problems with the sweeper, the new sweeper getting down Queen Street. And apparently, he's been coming down Church Alley and turning back along the short little bit of Queen Street and is not doing the rest of the street. Could you
Oh, sure.
look into that and see what's happening there? There is a question recorded in the minutes from the last meeting about whether the new ladder truck for the fire department can get across the bridge
I've talked to
to
them.
Byford Court. I called the fire department, and they're still working on getting information on the rating of that bridge. They told me this afternoon, but
Is it a weight problem or a width problem?
I think it's the weight. But he said that they bring ladders all the time, and it's only houses out there. So
There's
they
no
really
extra weight.
don't need the big new
I
ladder
don't think
truck.
they have more weight than, say, a Gillespie's truck or anything else.
Well, God knows.
They were worried about damaging the bridge. I said, worried more about damaging your truck.
And the last thing I wanted to ask about was, I actually have had a couple of comments from business owners about the new parking situation, and I wanted to check with the chief. Did we say that parking was to be limited to 2 hours once the meters were bagged? Is it?
If we said it, we didn't back it up. I mean, if we're gonna make the downtown 2-hour parking, we're gonna have to do
That's what I was worried about.
something. Right now, it's free parking in the downtown.
Okay, without any time limit, because there are a number of people just parking all day.
We're not marking tires.
I just wanted to check
Don't have
the
a meter
facts, just
monitor
the
anymore to
facts.
mark.
Now, the businesses are supposed to park on Cannon Street in the parking
I
lot.
don't know, that's what I said.
So,
I see a vacant parking lot
this
when
is
I
what
ride
they
by
wanted.
there an awful
Oh,
lot.
You
no,
have some
No, it's
vehicles
not
that are really
vacant.
noticeable right now because they're sporting large campaign posters, and you know they're there all day. And,
Well, we were supposed to be doing a 6-month trial period, so.
okay,
Go
just,
talk to us.
If they're still there the day after.
before
the
I tell
election,
people
we're gonna tell them.
misinformation, I wanted to check on that 2-hour thing. That's all I have.
Okay. Our last order of business for questions or comments is a request from the public to be on the agenda, Kevin and Cynthia Miller, food truck.
Good evening, council. Me and my wife is doing is asked for a request to do that planning committee. We want to do a food truck. We've been wanting to do it for a long time. We've been searching for buildings and it wasn't working out for us, so we're renovating a food truck. What you believe about it?
The food truck is actually going to be a barbecue truck, mostly barbecue with a few add-ons. The name of the business is Papa Smurf's Barbecue. We did find a gentleman who owns a business here, East Coast Stores, Mr. Greenwald, and he has said that he will let us stay at his location, and we do have a letter from him if we get approval from you all. Then he'll go ahead and write a full lease for us, which we can then present to September 17th to the Planning Commission.
is this
So-
the new location on High Street or back on Talbot Boulevard?
It's 848 High Street, so it's the corner of Morgan Road and High Street, right in the circle.
Okay.
So actually, they can get in 2 ways, through Morgan Road and High Street.
So is that the old USA fulfillment?
It's right by the roundabout, correct?
It's at the roundabout. We tried to get in the circle, but you got
That would not be
I'm
safe.
so proud of them for keeping you out of the circle. Way to go. Well, earlier when we were vetting this before, I think there's a big difference in an industry or something allowing a food truck to come, and I use the example of KRM, but I use this example. The private property owner that has appropriate zoning wants a food truck on it, it's a lot easier to make that decision for the planning commission. And hopefully they're putting things in place so they can make those decisions uniformly.
Yeah, actually, we had 2 places, but somebody bought the other place that we wanted, so both of the owners was pretty happy that we wanted to do it, and also they think that that'll bring more people to their property also. Since both of us was veterans in the military, I was an Army cook, and she was an Army cook. Both of us used to be Army cooks in the Army, so we really know food.
Did they call you Papa Smurf in the Army? I mean,
Well, the way that Papa Smurf came up is my cousin. I mean, I had the gray hair and I had a little beard, and she always called me Papa Smurf. So when she passed away, I
Honoring.
used the Papa Smurf.
Oh.
Yeah.
so what can we do?
I think that we proceed in the manner that we did with the last request, that the site, let the planning commission decide how you're going to sit on, I assume you're going to sit in the parking lot towards the front or something like that, either they have 2 parking lots. Let them work out the details, let them get the health department approval, and then I don't think you need to pass, you would get the same 3-month trial period. I would assume that Linda suggested it the last time, was $150 for 3 months?
150 for 3 months.
So we'll just take you through the same thing that the last one did, all right?
Okay. Thank you very
But
much.
you're returning to the planning commission, telling them how you're going to sit on the site. You already have your vehicle, right?
Yes.
That's good.
Not going out and spending $75,000 on a new vehicle.
Too late.
Right, too late. Too late. And the Walker family, they won't be right behind you, right? All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, are there any questions or comments from the audience?
Somebody's got to be dying to say something.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Take a market bag.
I
So we
thought
can.
we were told to return them. All right.
I didn't know, I was
Who said to
confused.
return them?
Somebody said.